TIFF went on this weekend, and there was a live read of The Breakfast Club, and we weren't invited.
Damn it.
Good afternoon, evening, whatever it is with you guys. It's 6 o'clock here, so it's that afternoon, evening thing. Cult members, I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And this is the Pop Culture Cult's The Big Show. Dun, dun, dun. We're off to a rip-roaring start.
Yep.
I have more energy now after the workout than I had before the workout. So yeah, we're in the process of doing some changes around here, and we'll get into it later. But seeing what happened at TIFF and kind of wishing we kind of maybe should have gone, or somebody needs to just maybe sponsor us to go. Or
Sure, that'd be amazing.
I would actually pay to go if you just give me passes to get into stuff.
Yeah. Well, is it open to the public?
Yeah,
or
I think so.
is
I
it?
think it's like, well, like you just buy. It's like they have like conferences and stuff going on too. It's not just the movies and
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah.
it's a big con kind of thing. It's not like
It's a movie
Cinema
convention.
Con where you have to be working in the industry
okay.
to go.
Right.
It's TIFF. It's that kind of thing. It's where it's just open, and a bunch of stuff came out of really good reviews and
Yep. Some good movies
Stars
coming.
Born, First Man, Old Man and a Gun.
Widows.
The Widows, all that came out was
Yep.
really, really good.
Yep.
Good kinda. And then I read this today. I have it on my phone. The technology. Jesse Eisenberg, Christina Hendricks, Aaron Paul, Belle Polly, and others headline Jason Reitman's all-star live read of John Hughes' classic, The Breakfast Club. But what?
They better record that and
Right.
and podcast it or something
Do something like put it on freaking YouTube or
Yeah.
do
Come
it.
on.
Yeah,
for the rest of us.
yeah. FanX Salt Lake City Convention, whatever they're calling it now, was this weekend, and one of the things they do every year is they have Twisted Tunes come in and
Yeah.
they do live reading of different movies, whatever, but they have voice actors and they
Yeah.
have them play the characters, and I love that. So I'd
Yeah.
love to have seen this kind
Yeah.
of thing. So, so like I said, welcome to the big show. This is going to be mostly movie kind of stuff in this show. We are going to add a couple different things in occasionally. We are going to talk about Star Wars Land today. We'll probably throw con stuff into this, and then we'll talk about the new show in a little bit. But for this, what we ask is two things. One, you're already here. You've already clicked on the video. You've lasted 3 minutes listening to us ramble on about stupid things.
Us.
Okay, me rambling on about stupid things. If you're already here, it costs nothing to subscribe to the channel. Hit the little button up in the corner. It's red. It says subscribe. You hit it. It turns gray, and then the spelling change, and it says unsubscribe.
Right.
So
Which you don't want to do.
What you don't want to do.
Right.
No, you want to stick around and do all this stuff. And then also just hit the bell, whatever. And the only other thing that we ask from you is share this channel with your friends. Tell your friends about it. If you're sitting around having dinner and you're talking about Trump and you're like, I'm done talking about Trump. Let's talk about these two idiots who are talking on the internet. Show them the page. Have them subscribe, that kind of stuff. And the more we get to do that, get a bigger audience, the more stuff that we get to do.
We're infinitely less controversial.
Most of the time. Until you get on a rant. I have a soapbox over here just in case. It's sitting right there. Okay, all right, we'll get into this. We're going to start off with some sad news this week. This last week on Thursday, we had the passing of Burt Reynolds. He was 82. And if he was here, was it 2 years ago for Barrett Jackson?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Selling some of the Trans Ams from Smokey and the Bandit.
Yep.
That
Some
were
of
part
his
of
personal. He had like two, I think, that were personal.
Yeah, I think something like that.
One was like a hero car, and the other one was a
Like the
stunt
promotional car or something
promotional
like that.
one, yeah.
The one they drove around the country and stuff.
Yeah.
If you had seen him recently, he's lived a very full life.
Yes.
And he's even said that he had he had not been good on his body.
Yeah.
In
Well,
his
he
younger
played
years.
football and he was a stuntman, and so when he was younger.
And
so.
he was the movie star in the 70s and early 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, he was
Yeah.
the guy.
And if you were around in the 70s and early 80s, you know what was going on then.
Right. I talked about this a little bit. Like, I wanted to grow up and be Burt Reynolds. Like, when I was a kid. Like, I love Smokey and the Bandit. I love Stroker Aces. I love Cannonball Run. All those race car movies. All that kind of stuff. I loved all that stuff. And it was right in my wheelhouse of being influenced by things I saw on TV. And so I knew that it was going to be hard when Burt died. But I've known for the last few years that it was sooner
coming.
rather than later.
Yeah.
It's sad, but he actually was still. All right, still going. He was still active as an actor. He's got stuff coming out still this year, and he was supposed to be in the Quentin Tarantino. Charles Manson.
Was he?
He was
Oh,
supposed
that's
to be.
right.
He was supposed to be like the ranch owner or something like that.
Yeah, and I
where,
think when they announced that, I even said on the show, hopefully they get that filmed quickly.
Right. I think he was supposed to film next month or end of this month was when he was scheduled to be on set, and so unfortunately they're gonna have to recast that. But it will be it's gonna sound really bad. Feeling old guy here,
Yeah, it's not like he was a major part or whatever.
No.
I also heard today that he was still teaching acting classes
at Florida State.
Yeah,
I heard that today too. He was going in and he wasn't a regular professor, but he was there on a regular basis and doing stuff. And
who knew?
You never really thought of Burt Reynolds as a
quintessential actor.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, he got nominated for Boogie Nights. He got an Oscar nomination for Boogie Nights. Probably would have won that year, but he talked about how much he hated the movie. He didn't get the movie, didn't like the movie, whatever. But he was in it, and he took the paycheck, and he was amazing in it. And that was the year that Robin Williams got it for Good Will Hunting.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And he probably would have won it if he hadn't badmouthed the movie so much. But he was in Deliverance, and he was great in Deliverance and stuff like that. But he was the guy's guy movie actor for a really long time. And, and it's sad that he passed, and we watched Smokey and the Bandit again. It's a 42-year-old movie at this point in time. It came out the same summer as Star Wars, which is like right in my wheelhouse. I was 2, so do the math. But I'm sorry, to me, that movie still holds up.
It holds up, but there's some stuff in there that's borderline inappropriate in today's.
There's some misogyny in there a couple times,
and
there's some
the Asian truck driver comes
Barreling
barreling
down.
through, and they play the
right.
It's like
They would play that for a joke now. Like, not today, that would be the joke.
I don't know.
Okay, 2 years ago, that would have been played for the joke.
Yeah, maybe.
Back then, that was actually like just how it was.
That's how you knew that an Asian person was coming on screen.
Right. Although,
Because most of the time they weren't actually played by Asian people.
Snowman, Jesus Christ, when Jerry Reed, when Jerry Reed leaves after getting beat up in the bar when he's at the gas station. Okay, it's run by 2 black guys, and the 2 black guys, all the bikers are there, like, we're out, see ya. And then Snowman gets beat up by all these guys. Like that's not that actually holds up. Like that scene would have been really easy to have been in that, especially in the 70s, where it had been a bunch of black guys beaten up on the country guy.
Yeah.
And it totally wasn't what the scene was. And it's just, we're going off on a tangent. I don't care. But that movie is just, it warms my cockles, my inner cockles.
Subcockles.
My subcockles. It's so good. And I've seen it 100+ bazillion times. I still laugh at the parts where I laugh.
Yeah.
Laugh at it.
Junior, hold my hand.
You get out of the car when the bonsai scene happens, and he gets out of the car. Beaver G. Justice walks over, and Junior comes over, and he puts his hand on his hat as they're walking. Just Justice is like stops and looks at him like, you are an idiot. Like,
No way you came from,
from
my
my
loins.
loins. Although I've seen it so many times, the edited version of it.
Yeah.
Watching the
You
unedited,
scumbum.
watching the unedited version of that movie was like,
Well,
wait a
and
minute.
we talked about, because we watched it on Amazon.
yeah.
And it's PG. So when I saw that come up, I thought, I wonder if they ever go back and re-rate movies, because the rating system is very different now.
Right.
Obviously they don't, because this movie would not be PG today.
Be
It
PG-13.
might be PG-13. It might even be R. They say shit a bunch.
Shit they'll get away with, and I think the rule is right now you're allowed one F-bomb in the movie
Okay.
to keep the PG-13.
Okay.
Anything, and then if it's super gory or super sexual or whatever.
Yeah. So but definitely not PG. It
Definitely
would
not
definitely
PG.
be a PG
And back,
13.
and back then they didn't have the PG-13.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it was a hard PG. Whatever that means.
As opposed to a
It was hard.
hard G.
Hard G. No? Okay. So, yeah, I just really sad that Bert has moved on. The tributes online have been really good, the artwork and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I hope they kind of take a moment at the Oscars and do something a little bit more for him. We haven't had a ton of people leave this year. But Burt Reynolds was a big part of Hollywood for a really long time, and so it would be nice if they did something, even if it's just like in the open. They have whoever hosts come out in the bandit outfit, kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll do that, because there's the whole strive for the younger audience, and I don't know if that'll connect with the younger audience.
Yeah.
But they'll probably at least spend more than just one picture when they do the people we've lost this year. They'll probably show a couple pictures.
Maybe do an honorary Oscar for him in a couple years or something.
Maybe.
Post them. So now for something completely different. My wife sent me a trailer this afternoon. And
while I was doing research for the other show.
For the other show. And she sent no comment. Other than we're going to watch this. It's coming on Amazon Prime. And it's King Lear. It is Shakespeare's King Lear.
Yep.
It is set in modern times, and they've done this in the past with different versions of the different Shakespeare.
I think it's actually maybe First World War,
First or Second World War. It's kind of what I thought it was, but then there was a couple of shots where I'm like, that's much more modern.
Yeah,
it's kind of more of a interpretation of that kind of time period, but it makes sense. But it's starring Sir Anthony Hopkins as King Lear. And this is going to be such a bad transition between the two, but it makes sense. His crazy guy that he plays in Red 2 is King Lear.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of how he when I saw it in the trailer, I'm like, I've seen him play this kind of thing before, so he's going to be really good. And they didn't modernize Shakespeare's language. It's Shakespeare's writing pretty much exactly. They just modernized the setting.
Right. And I like when they do that. Like
most of the time she likes it when they do that.
When didn't I? They did. That was different.
Romeo and Juliet. Leonardo DiCaprio's Romeo and Juliet was modernized, and my wife hates it.
Horrible. No, I meant I like when they keep the original language.
Yes.
In an updated version. The Joss Whedon.
Yes.
One is very
Much
cool.
Ado,
the Much Ado is real cool. It's black and white, and it's filmed in his house, and he just got a bunch of his friends together. It took him like a week or whatever, and they did Much Ado in his house. That one was really awesome. And the Kenneth Branagh, some of those aren't even set necessarily in, I mean, they're obviously not set in Shakespeare's time, but not modern time, but I like it. Kind of sometimes you struggle with Shakespeare, especially reading it.
Yes.
And then
it's
sometimes
very hard
in
to
the
read.
older where they try to keep it period to the time when Shakespeare wrote it, it's hard to kind of understand in today's context what he's saying. And the way Shakespeare wrote, people didn't talk like that.
Right.
Back then, they didn't talk like that.
It was theater speech.
Yeah. Which is why the Queen loved it so much. But yeah, I like when they do this. Everybody, like, basically every British actor, please raise your hand. You are now in this movie.
Emma, the ones I just wrote down was Emma Thompson, who's in, I think she's only got like 2 more plays that she hasn't done for Shakespeare.
She's done them all.
Andrew Scott, who played Moriarty in the Sherlock.
Yep.
Christopher Eccleston, who I took his picture down, which is really awesome. Whenever he shows up, it's awesome. Emily Watson, not Emily, not
Emma.
Emma Watson.
Yeah.
Emily Watson. She's one of the British female actresses that always shows up in something. You're like, oh, it's that girl.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
As soon as she pops up, I'm like, oh, it's that girl.
There was a bunch of those, actually. Like, basically, I recognized everyone, although I didn't know all their names.
We do watch a lot more British television than, like, say, the average person, too.
Probably,
so,
probably.
Yeah, she watches Broadchurch and The Crown, and you didn't
and
watch
Luther.
You didn't watch Downton Abbey, did you?
No, but I want to.
Well, they started filming the movie today, so we might have to watch it to get to the movie.
Darn.
But it looks great. It looks great, and it's coming to Amazon Prime, which is, if you've been following our show, is going to be an issue because we've been talking about getting rid of Amazon Prime, and now we've got Amazon Prime, The Boys, talking about some TV stuff here, The Boys, Man in the High Castle, The Good Omen, King Lear, Grand Tour, all coming out between now and next spring.
Yeah.
And we were talking about getting rid of Amazon Prime to get Hulu so we could do a bunch of the Hulu stuff. And now we're like, so can we add the Hulu thing? And so...
Stop taking my money.
Or somebody needs to pay us. I sent her a tangent. Left turn. I sent her a text today. There's a job out there right now where they pay $2,000 a month for you to watch all the streaming service shows and to essentially rate the streaming services and their shows for a 1-month period, and it pays $2,000 a month. Yes, please. Like, I would consider ditching my job for a month. I've got almost a month worth of sick time.
That's true.
I could just ditch my job for a month and take the sick time and then
another $2,000 on top of that.
$2,000, and I could work on stuff for the show. Please hit pause. We're going to be right back. I'm going to go apply for a job. So, yeah, but the King Lear thing looks really good. It's coming on Amazon end of September 28th, 25th. It was something like that. So look out for that. We will definitely be talking about it again later. Last Tuesday, Brie Larson got on Twitter and said, hey, Entertainment Weekly, do you want to break the internet tomorrow? And Entertainment Weekly says, hey, how about you come by about noon and let's see what happens? And at which point, we were one of the first ones to kind of post the tweet and to get it out there, and then it kind of snowballed. Everybody picked it up along the way. I'm going to say we're one of the first ones because I caught the tweet like 2 minutes after it popped up. So I'm going to go with it. That
yes,
we were
broke
first.
It. We broke the news.
We broke the news from reading Twitter. We broke it. And then the next day, Entertainment Weekly released their fall preview with photos from Captain Marvel.
Yep. We were hoping for a trailer.
We'll get into that in a minute. But they had an article about Captain Marvel and the future's female and all that kind of stuff, and female superhero movies, female-driven movies. Widows is one of the ones they were talking about in that article. But the big thing was they showed, I think it was 10 photos from this set.
Yep.
And holy cow, does everything look amazing.
Yep, it does. Well, Marvel.
Yeah, the color palette, I don't know if maybe it's just the photos or whatever, but everything looked crisper than, say, Ant-Man or Black Panther, or like it might have just been high resolution photos. I'm not saying that it isn't anything other than that, but
so I kind of feel like Ant-Man all the backgrounds were kind of blues in both 1 and 2.
Right.
And then their suits are red, and so that kind of makes them
Pop a little bit, yeah.
And then I've always kind of felt, and I have nothing but photos to base this on, but that Captain Marvel, kind of the backgrounds were more browns, and then her outfit is red and yellow and blue, and it kind of pops. Just
the photos look really cool. I like the ones that really got me is the one of Captain Marvel. She's standing there with her hands clenched, which is from the comic, and she's got this real like heroic pose in the desert, and it's just her in the outfit and stuff, and that one's really cool. The scrolls coming onto the beach was really cool, but my favorite probably is de-aged Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah,
I mean, he's 15 years younger in these photos, with both eyes, by the way, with both eyes.
Yes.
And as Nick Fury, and I look at that and I'm just like, wow, they've got the de-aging thing down at Marvel right now.
Yeah, well, and we talked about this with the Guardians of the Galaxy one with Kurt Russell. It's easier when there's a lot of older material to pull from, right? So, you've got some older you've got Pulp Fiction and
Snakes on a Plane, and fill in the blank of everything that's happened. He's Moonrise Kingdom, like everything.
The picture looks like him from Pulp Fiction with not quite such a big fro.
Yeah, and it's just really, it's the first. It's like, so we had a funeral with Infinity War. We watched it again this weekend because, oh my god, we watched all the director's commentary. So worth it.
Yep.
We had the funeral with that. We had the kind of dumb, silly celebration with Deadpool, and then we had a fun heist movie with Ant-Man and the Wasp. And once that kind of died down, Marvel just kind of like didn't talk about anything.
Yeah,
Nothing
so
came
quiet.
out. It was so quiet. Whoever's running Marvel's marketing is doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
They have it on lock, and they're going to do what they did with Black Panther and Infinity War again with Captain Marvel and Infinity War 2 or whatever they're going to end up calling it, Infinity Gauntlet or whatever it ends up, timey-wimey and shit. But they that comes out in March, and Infinity War comes out in May.
Yep.
So it'll be a 2-month gap again, and they said it's not going to be an origin story. It's going to just be a standalone story kind of thing. The Kree is in it. The Skrulls are in it. There's de-aged Samuel L. Jackson. Maria Hill's in it. Coulson's in it. All that stuff's going on. I'm super excited. The one complaint I have of everything that happened out of this is what came out of Brie Larson's mouth on Twitter. Do you want to break the internet tomorrow? Breaking the internet is showing up with a 2.5-minute trailer that blows everybody out of the water. Not 10 photos from Entertainment Weekly. It's a super silly reason. If she came out and said, "Do you want to make the internet excited tomorrow," or something along that line, but that's never going to grab anybody's attention.
Yeah.
You're going to have to say you want to break the internet. Breaking the internet is her showing up. Okay. Breaking the internet would be an Infinity War trailer tomorrow.
Yeah.
Except I know they're on set refilming some stuff.
Right.
But
I don't think... Didn't they say they weren't going to release the name until after Captain Marvel?
That was the rumor.
Title?
That was the rumor.
Because it's a spoiler?
I secretly... I've been very... I won't even say secret. I've been very public about this. I want no trailers for Infinity War. Give me a poster with Infinity War 2, and don't even put the name of it on until the title card. No trailers, no nothing. It's not like they have to promote this movie. Everybody saw or heard about this movie. Everyone. It made $2.05 billion. And it's not even the DVD. Like, everybody knows about this movie. You have to have this. If you're never going to have a trailer on a movie, this is the one you need to do it. Man, we're all tangenting
But you
all
also run a show that we do trailer reactions.
I'm willing to give up one for just that.
All right, yeah, I get it. It's a double-edged sword.
It's a triple-edged sword, and I'm ready for Captain Marvel. So we're gonna move on because we'll sit here and talk about Marvel stuff for the rest of the show, and we have other things to talk about. First thing we want to talk about, stuff that I'll add to the trailer or to the back end of this video with links to those videos. We did a review of Peppermint, the new movie with Jennifer Gardner. We went and saw it and did a review. I will tag it to the end of this. And then the other thing that we also wanted to talk about is we started a new show that are going to be on Sundays. It's called TV Time. And what it's essentially going to be is just TV news notes, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
We're going to try to do some episode or maybe series reviews. And then we're going to do once a week, we're going to do Pop Choice of the Week, which will be either a show or an episode or something along that line of something that we feel that we liked that we think that you should watch.
Yep.
We're trying to keep them short, 15, 20 minutes, so they're much easier. This is the big show. We'll spend more time on more subjects.
Right.
The idea for this show is to talk mostly movies. Sometimes we'll throw cons and comics and stuff like that.
Comics and books.
But the TV show is just for TV stuff.
Yep.
And so this has been in the works for a while. Now that we're having some more free time on our weekends, the idea is to kind of start throwing stuff around. Maybe working on a Star Wars show. So
yes, with a special
Josh from Epoch VR. And I have been talking, and so that's probably in the works, but might have to wait until we get back. I don't know. I still have to talk to him. Just get on message and start messaging him and letting him know. So I'll tag those at the end of the video. Please, when you get done watching this, go watch those. And like I said, the Peppermint one's 9 or 10 minutes, something like that, very long. So, a couple things talking about Star Wars, a couple of Star Wars news and notes that came out this last week. The first one is Star Wars Land Cantina
at Disneyland.
At Disneyland is going to sell alcohol. What are we all gonna do when drunken idiots are riding rides in Disneyland? The drinks are gonna be like $25 a piece. Nobody's gonna get drunk at Disneyland. And if you don't think people are sneaking other things into Disneyland, then
smoking a bowl on the Matterhorn.
Right, exactly. But there was a lot of the internet being the internet and having knee-jerk reactions, and then people knee-jerk reacting off of that. I don't want to talk about that. What I want to talk about is the idea that the Galaxy's Edge, Star Wars Land, Galaxy's Edge, what they're going to call it, they're really not just going for the kid angle. They're going for everyone.
Yeah, they shouldn't, because I don't think Star Wars, it's a thing, but it's not anywhere near as big of a thing for kids and teens this generation as it is for the older.
Yeah. And they're trying to, every new generation, they're trying to do something new to bring people in. That's what the prequels were. That's what Rebels and Resistance and that kind of stuff. And
we have a lot of adult friends that like to go to Disneyland, so I think Disneyland is maybe trying to embrace that a little bit.
Yeah.
Like adult friends that don't even have kids and, go to Disneyland.
And they go to Disneyland. So, I don't know why. It's weird to me, but
but yeah, so this is kind of a way for them to embrace that a little bit more and welcome them.
They've been selling alcohol at Epcot Center for years,
and apparently at California Land.
And in California
which
Land,
is next to but not directly attached to Disneyland.
Right. So I love. I'm trying to figure out how to word this. I really, really, really want to go in 2022 when the lines go down.
Right.
They've also, the cantina itself is in Thrawn Alliances. It's called Black Spire Outpost is the name of the area, and it's Oeg's Cantina. That's actually and Vader and Thrawn are actually in the cantina. Multiple Anakin and Thrawn and Vader and Thrawn are in there multiple times, and so it is Galaxy's Edge is part of canon, and they've been slowly introducing these different things for the Outer Reaches and the Last Outpost, and like getting outside of the central core planets of different things.
Right. Well, they need to start opening that stuff up if they're going.
Yes.
The Skywalker series
saga,
whatever is just about over, and so they need to start opening up and getting folks familiar with some of the other locations and people, and so that they can start having movies and followings for the new stuff.
I watched a radio RIODOO. I watched a video today from Star Wars Explained from Alex, and he had an interview with Timothy Zahn at Dragon Con, and they sat down and talked about a bunch of different things, but the part that they were talking about specifically in this video was, do you know what happened with Ezra and Thrawn? Spoilers for Rebels. I've talked about it a bunch on the show. So, but about what happens when they get sucked into the outer reaches and the unknown land, unknown space and stuff like that. And Thrawn says, "No, I don't know."
Zahn.
Thrawn.
It's very confusing.
It's very confusing. Timothy Zahn said that he doesn't know specifically what Star Wars story group wants to do with that, but he has an idea for a story that could be done in a movie. Right. Is what he was kind of talking about. So,
well, and we kind of learned about that when we went to that panel at Phoenix Comic Fest, whatever, with all the Star Wars writers, that they kind of explained that you don't get all the lore and canon when you are picked to do a story.
Right.
You get what you need to know, and if it's a character pre-existing, you can go read some of that stuff, but they don't open up the Star Wars tome and say in the beginning and the end and give you all that information. They just don't.
And like the Han Solo was kind of the example they were giving, because they didn't get the script for Han Solo, and God, what was his name? Alder, who wrote Last Shot, didn't get to see the script, and he was actually working on writing the book before the script was even turned in, before they even started doing stuff. So he didn't even get any. So the novelization for Solo is out. I'm actually gonna download it. I have the Audible subscription, but I'm probably gonna go listen to it until we go get on a plane to fly to England. And there's a bunch of stuff that's already been talked about that's in that book that fills in a bunch of the holes from the movie and stuff. And
they probably gave him a rough outline of, this is kind of, it's about the Kessel Run, and and so that he could at least start working on it before he saw the script.
The novelization is supposed to have a bunch of stuff. I know Last Jedi, the big thing, the Last Jedi novelization is there's the Han funeral scene that didn't make it into Last Jedi because of everything that worked out. And so that discussion, that's something else that I want to read, but it's not a priority right now. The other Star Wars thing that I wanted to bring up also came out last Thursday. There was like a flurry of information that came out within like 25 minutes of each other. Last Jedi is now the best-selling Blu-ray of the year. Not too bad for a movie everybody hated. And it surpassed Black Panther, which everyone loved.
Yeah.
As of right now, okay, I'm going to say end of last week when I got the information, it has sold just over 3 million copies of the Blu-ray, not digital downloads and not DVDs. Just the Blu-rays is just over 3 million. And it's like $69.5 million more. The most popular film, Black Panther's only before was only 2.6, and Ragnarok was 2.3. And we still have like 4 months left in the year, and we'll see what Infinity War kind of does. I think a lot of people just actually digitally downloaded that one because they didn't want to wait for the Blu-ray to come out.
Yeah, that's kind of unfair, right?
Right.
They're not going to include the digital download Because I think, like Infinity War, people were like, I don't want to wait.
Right.
I want to watch it now.
Right. And now, and now, and now.
And
But
again.
I think a lot of the Star Wars fan base is a lot like us. Well, okay, a lot like me. I like having the physical media. And so the only thing that we don't have the Star Wars stuff that's not the physical media right now is Rogue One. Which is my favorite Star Wars movie right now, and I don't have a physical copy of it. What's wrong with me?
We bought it on Amazon.
We did, because I wasn't going to wait.
Because you didn't want to wait.
But I felt that was very interesting that just the Blu-rays have sold 3 million as the highest rated one of the year. It's kind of false news, but also I'm going to take it as a good spin because everybody hated Last Jedi. A vocal minority was very anti-Last Jedi with all the stuff that happened around that. And I've noticed a lot lately through different Star Wars shows that I listen to, podcasts, YouTube channels, interaction on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, whatever, that people are starting to come around on Last Jedi. They're never going to say it's the best Star Wars movie. That's never going to happen.
Yeah.
But people are starting to understand what I kind of figured out much sooner is there's some stuff here, guys, and it's way more important and way more better. I'm just gonna go with it. Than people gave it a chance to be, and that's kind of I love when dumb people are proven wrong.
Except they don't know that they got proved wrong.
I don't care. Talking about Black Panther, now we're going to talk about the Oscars. So the Oscars last week decided to ditch their best popular film. We want to make sure Black Panther gets nominated.
Because apparently they didn't actually confab with the voters.
Right. They just
released it. And then all the voters went, wait, what?
They don't want to come across as racist when Black Panther doesn't get nominated. So, guess what, voters? You better nominate Black Panther because the Oscars will die very quick death if it doesn't get nominated at this point in time. I never ever thought that this was just the Black Panther award, the best popular movie, to make sure it gets nominated. I always thought that getting the popular film was to kind of bring in, like we were talking about earlier, the younger crowd to watch the Oscars.
Yeah. Yep.
Now,
but they talked about it on Movie Talk. I think it was from Friday. That Roca was like, why don't you pick 10 films? Their rating, voting, whatever, blah blah blah, is dumb.
Right.
And why are you going to say, oh, there could be up to 10 films when apparently that's never ever mathematically going to be able to happen?
Right.
Then why do it? That's dumb. Pick 10 movies.
Last year would have been the perfect chance. They had 9 films that got nominated. Most everybody had like a 3-movie kind of idea what was going to win, but there was all these other movies that got nominated, and the big one that kind of got the push out of that was Call Me by Your Name. Nobody really saw that, and then they saw all the stuff about it. They went and saw it. Whatever.
Yeah. They totally could have thrown Wonder Woman in there.
Wonder
they had
Woman
one
or
more
Logan.
spot.
One more spot.
Or Logan.
This is going to sound weird, but have like a critic's choice or have the president's choice. If you have an extra slot, if you have an extra slot to fill, phrasing, then have the president pick one. You know, like give a movie like Logan, Wonder Woman, Black Panther, Infinity War, something like that, a chance to get
something other than technical.
maybe not actually win, but at least be in the conversation with these movies. Movies are art, and I want all of the movies to be properly represented, and I think a lot of voters forget that sometimes.
Well, and it's also a big deal to have Oscar nominated, even if you don't win.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
For all those actors that were in it, the director,
What
whatever.
was the trailer we watched last... can't remember what it was. It was like Oscar nominated and Oscar winner and Oscar nominated.
What was it? I was just thinking about that same thing.
Oh, it's Widows. It was Widows. They talked about Oscar nominated, Golden Globe winner, whatever.
Yeah.
And then a couple people who haven't really been, like Michelle Rodriguez, who hasn't really been in a position to do that.
Yeah.
And Golden Globe nominated or Golden Globe winner and Oscar nominated Liam Neeson is like the last name on the card, you know. and so it's a big deal. And I just think it would be nice to have a good cross the board representation. And I really only feel they ever did that once with Lord of the Rings. And that was Return of the King. And what they really were doing, the Oscars have a really weird memory, and they 1 year they don't nominate any black movies, and the next year it's the black Oscars.
Yeah.
We've talked about this in the past.
Dumb.
But Return of the King was, they gave Oscars to all that. It won 11 Oscars because they were giving
the total
of the
movies,
achievement in all three of the movies and how they were done and everything.
Yeah, and I mean, it's having a best most popular film category was never going to do what they wanted it to do. They wanted it like you just said. They did it to bring in a younger audience. No one is ever going to sit through 3 hours of the Oscars to watch their 2 minutes of the movie they saw a million times, their Infinity War, whether or not it gets nominated. They're just not going to do it. You need to be invested in watching all 3 hours. So, they'll just, a 15-year-old is just going to read it online later. They're not going to sit
or they're going to watch
the
highlights on the 3-minute highlight thing that they show on E or
They're
whatever.
probably not even going to do that. They'll just read it online.
So it was really cool, the Oscars. I love big companies that go, we have this idea and we're going to go with it, and they start going with it, and they come back later and they're like, okay, that was a shitty idea, I'm sorry. What were we thinking? I don't know what. It was his idea. We fired him. He's gone. I love companies that like aren't afraid. Oops, sorry. I appreciate, I won't say love, I appreciate companies that can come back and say, we were wrong.
Yeah, instead of just running with a horrible idea.
And we know companies that do that. iPhones with one hole to charge and for their headphones. Don't buy an iPhone. The last piece of business we want to talk about today is something that maybe isn't a huge story in the entertainment world kind of thing.
Oh, I think it is.
I think it's a big deal, but we are also weirdos. We've talked about this in the past. The stuff that we like is typically not the mainstream stuff.
We're eclectic.
We are very eclectic. Hence why we talked about Marvel and King Lear in the same show today.
Right.
So Denis Villeneuve, who is probably my favorite director outside of someone named Quentin right now. He did Arrival, he did Sicario, he did Blade Runner 2049. Those are 3 of my favorite movies in the last probably 5 years right now. He is redoing Dune.
Yep.
Now, I've read the first Dune book. Okay, I had it read to me.
It's tough.
It's a really thick, hard read / listen to.
Yes.
And there's a lot involved in that. And then Lynch.
David
Lynch? David Fincher.
One of
the two. God damn it. I'm going to go with Fincher.
I don't remember which one it is.
Oh my God. Talk amongst yourselves. Anyways, his original Dune was not really the book, but it was kind of cool. And there's 2 cuts of that movie, much like the Blade Runner. There's
Dino De Laurentiis, wasn't it? Was Dino De Laurentiis?
It was Dino De Laurentiis.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
We're terrible people. 5, 4,
Dino De
3.
Laurentiis. I got it right.
You scored the point for the team.
Yay.
I'm doing shitty over here. Anyways, like I was saying, there's 2 versions of that movie. There's the theatrical cut, and then there was like the 3.5-hour director's cut that came out. And the 3.5-hour is super dense and hard to watch, but so much better than the other one. It's one of my more favorite sci-fi stories and the movie is just amazing. They came back and Sci-Fi did the book version a few years later, very much the book, much closer to the book, much more color involved and everything like that.
I think that one was harder to watch.
That one was harder to watch, basically because it was like a 9-hour movie.
Yeah.
And it did the entire book. So when Denis Villeneuve got done with 2049, he said he wanted to do Dune.
Yep.
And he took that as his next project. He could take any project he wants in the world, and he wanted to do Dune.
He actually got offered, was in the running for something else. I don't remember what it was, and he's like, after Dune.
Bond.
He
was in the conversation for Bond before Danny Boyle was.
Yeah.
And then they asked Danny Boyle to do it. And anyways, that's a whole different subject. Denis Villeneuve wanted to do he wanted to do the Blade Runner sequel, 2049, because he didn't want anybody else to screw it up.
Right.
And he probably spent too much money to make that movie look perfect.
I thought it was awesome.
And it didn't really do as well. It's going to be like the original Blade Runner where it makes all of its money later on. So he's doing Dune. And I'm like over the moon with the idea that Denis Villeneuve is doing this movie. Well, they've already cast Timothée Chalamet. Speaking of Call Me By Your Name, he's also in a movie that came out, was premiered at TIFF called Beautiful Boy.
Beautiful Boy, yeah.
And apparently he's supposed to be really good in that, too. But Timothée Chalamet is going to play Paul Atreides, and I thought that was kind of an interesting younger version than what they did in the original movie.
Right.
Which makes more sense for the book. Younger Paul Atreides.
Right.
Late teens, early 20s, starting to become his own man, still has feelings for his father, all that kind of stuff. Well, it came out last week. Deadline is reporting that Rebecca Ferguson is in talks to play Lady Jessica, Paul's mother. Now, Rebecca Ferguson is the British spy from the last couple of Mission Impossible movies. Mm-hmm. And I was like, and then I found a photo and posted it to Instagram, and she looks like a Reverend Mother in that photo. Now her hair isn't all done up, but she has the big forehead and her hair is all pulled back, and she looks like a Reverend.
I thought she was a good pick. My concern was the age, and actually a couple more people have pointed it out, and there's only a 12-year difference between Timothée Chalamet and her.
They can age her up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it's probably not that big of a deal. I think Kyle MacLachlan was
in his 30s,
probably early 30s.
Yeah,
and is it Jessica Lange who? No.
It's not Sean Young. Sean Young was his concubine.
I know who it is, but I can't think of her name anyway. That played Jessica.
Everybody on this like frantically typing.
Yeah.
Oh my God! How do you love Dune and not know that? Okay, Patrick Stewart.
Sting. I can.
Max von
Sydow. Yeah. We just watched it. I can't think of what her name is. Anyway, they couldn't have been that. I mean, she might have been in her early 40s.
Yeah, they were. There was pretty close. I'm like vibrating. I want to see this so freaking bad. And they're still just casting it. They're not even like. What I really want is Patrick Stewart to come back and play the same character. He looks exactly the same.
He does.
I have him play the same character.
Did I get you?
Yeah, it's humid here, so there's water flying all over the place. But Denis' visual styling, his storytelling in the Dune universe, and everyone signing on for multiple movies. Now, that's kind of the standard thing right now in Hollywood, but people are signing up for multiple movies.
Yeah.
The other thing, too, that Deadline reported, and I thought this was a little interesting with Rebecca Ferguson, is she will star in the next installment of Men in Black. That's right. Okay. I'm trying to read my notes, and it's not really. She's going to be in Men in Black as an agent, I believe. That's the one with Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth. And she's gonna play Rose the Hat in Captain Sleep.
Doctor Sleep.
Sorry, Captain Sleep Marvel America. And Doctor Sleep Strange who.
It's an interesting pick. When I read the book, Rose the Hat, I always pictured as the French girl in the second Sherlock Holmes, because that's kind of what she is. They're gypsies, and I always just in my head pictured her.
Yeah. That makes sense. But she's because she was kind of she's been in a bunch of stuff, but since she nailed those 2 roles in the 2 Mission Impossibles, like everybody's like, we would like you.
I've heard some of her earlier stuff wasn't the movies themselves weren't great. Not necessarily that her acting was bad. Just the movies themselves weren't great.
I get that. So that's this week's big show. Like I said, much more of the movie stuff in this show. We have the TV time now. We're going to do on Sundays. We'll do much more of the TV stuff like that. If there's a TV show that you want us to start watching or you're interested in, let us know. Leave us a comment. But for this week's show of the big show, let us know. Are you excited about Dune? Are you going to Disneyland? Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. I'll start calling it Galaxy's Edge the way it's supposed to be done. Are you looking forward to King Lear, Captain Marvel? And tell us your favorite Burt Reynolds movie. That's this week's homework assignment. Leave us a comment on your favorite Burt Reynolds movie. I'm going to already tell you mine is Smokey and the Bandit. But you can take that one, but please let us know. While you're here, we already asked you, subscribe to the channel. You've made it this long. Just go ahead and do it now. It's fine. And like the video. That helps us out and how we're doing. Also, you can get a hold of us on our social media network. We're at PopCultureCult on Facebook, PopCultureCult1 on Instagram, Pop_Cult1 on Twitter. At some point in time, I'm going to do a video where I can do all this and just add it to the end and say goodbye.
I keep telling you
We're also on the Stardust app. Download it for free. Follow us first. It gives you a chance to do 30-second reactions to everything you're watching, including TV and movies of moviness. Movie! And until the next time, good night now. Bebo hungry.